There's an epidemic within comic books and just Hollywood in general. It's called fantagonism, where companies go out of their way to actually antagonize their customers. Not just like people that know about what they're doing, the people that they actually expect to pay the bills. Recently, G4 shut down. Adam Sessler Frosk were all a part of that. And Adam Sessler recently kind of talked about their strategies. And I want to talk about how stupid it is. And here with me is Aaron Sparrow, who's taken the very daring choice to wear an ascot on my channel. Congratulations.
I'm not wearing an ascot. This is a sweater underneath another sweater. Also, just so your viewers know, my Christmas tree is still up. This is not an old video. It is January. I am not Russian Orthodox. I just leave it up, until almost February because I like Christmas a lot. I like the magic. I like the glow of the lights. I like that feeling of coming home, and it feels magical.
So I guess he went on a podcast recently and was kind of talking about the downfall of G4. Obviously, he talked about Frosk and some of their strategies that they were using to generate interest in G4, which, to be honest, Aaron, was always going to be a hard sell to make money because there are a lot of production costs with an in-studio show that you're going to broadcast specifically on YouTube, where you're competing with kids playing video games in their living room, not really paying for anything to kind of compete with them. YouTube really isn't made to be exclusive like in-studio shows. Certainly the revenue that you generate just off of YouTube itself doesn't really warrant that kind of production value.
No, the main problem that G4 always faced was the competition, and the competition, everything has evolved since G4 was originally on television. You've got all kinds of YouTubers out there playing games now. And also there, we see this with comic channels. We see this with video game channels. We see this with all forms of entertainment. People are looking for sincerity. They're looking for sincerity, and they're looking for honest takes from honest people. So, when you build a show like G4, which is very corporate, and it's, going to be filled with a lot of shilling and a lot of identity politics and all the things that they want to push at you, people are going to reject it generally, and they're going to go back to the people that they trust, which is, just regular gamers playing in their living room, having a good time, and being honest about their opinions.
Adam Sessler described Frost's rant as a well-written soliloquy defending women's presence in the space, and that the idea that Frost deciding not to be a dancing monkey being to blame for G4's demise was kind of ridiculous. He graphically described the rant as a slow-acting poison that kind of got into the goulash at G4, but not the reason they shut down their doors. Speaking about the rant, he said this specifically: "I would never tell someone what to do. The only thing I would have probably said is what could happen in terms of the attack." Sessler then describes what it's like to be the target of this kind of backlash and safety concerns. That's not fun. That's not fun at all. When it happened, I was deeply sympathetic. I was pretty certain of the shitstorm that was on the horizon. So he says it was the poison in the goulash that destroyed G4, but it wasn't her fault, right?
I think this is some revisionist history going on from Sessler, because Sessler had been arguing with people on Twitter for quite a while. He'd been very toxic in his response to fans. His contempt for gamers and for gaming culture was very evident, on his Twitter account alone, way before any of this went on. So I don't know that he did caution Frosk. I think he probably would have been all on board. Like I said, I think this is some revisionist history going on. The idea that he's putting out there that, we thought this would be a way to, hey, I was just playing a character to kind of like generate interest.
It was a heel turn, man.
Yeah, you can't really do that. Like, I mean, I have a little bit of fun on Twitter every now and then. I play a little bit of the troll, a little bit of the heel, but on occasion, and it's a little bit of fun, but it's all tongue in cheek, and it's like you don't like just go into that persona. You don't call people names. You don't insult paying customers. That never works. So the idea that was a strategy from G4, maybe it was, but it was the dumbest strategy they could have come up with for a network that was already facing an uphill battle.
Yeah, it probably dies either way. It just died faster because of what Frost did. Yeah, I don't know what Sessler's thinking there. One of the hosts of the podcast jokingly asked about the hyperbolic statements from the masses that pinned Sessler with not just the destruction of G4, but also destroying gaming forever. This is Sessler's response: "I more legitimately take some credit. I started out in 1998 before we had video on the internet. When G4 became G4 Tech TV, we were able to do what YouTube would eventually do when we really started to realize that, wow, the more we insult things, the more viewership starts to go up. I think we are the vanguards." That is absolutely revisionist history right there. They were not doing what you see on YouTube nowadays. Like, they weren't the pioneers over there on G4 TV. And yes, you can say things that are provocative. and that will get interest in your channel. But actually insulting the viewers never ever works. Yes, you will get some hate views here and there, but if you actually, like the people that are interested in your product that you're tailoring it to, if you go out of your way to insult them and tell them they're stupid, of course they're never actually going to stick around.
No, there's a difference between being provocative and being antagonistic. That there's a huge gulf between that. Provocative brings people in. They become part of the, they feel like they're part of the show. You have to have a rapport with your audience. Your audience has to feel that they're somehow invested. And if you're sitting there and you're calling them names, and you're telling them why they're pieces of shit and why gamers suck and, why this is all terrible, why are they going to stick around? Nobody's going to. Nobody pays to be insulted. Well, I mean, maybe some people do. You go to one of those restaurants where they have their thumb in your soup or whatever, and you get a little bit of abuse, or you hire a dominatrix or whatever it is you're into. But by and large, you're not going to be able to build a successful business insulting people and telling your customer base that they suck. They're going to go somewhere else. They're going to go somewhere where they feel welcomed and they feel like they're valued, and that's what customer service is all about.
And that's like one of the things that YouTube is really pointing out. You can insult people, you can insult ideas, but you can never actually insult the people that you're trying to speak to. I insult people here on the channel, but I never actually insult the viewers because I'm trying to speak to a very specific group of people that are like-minded, that are interested in comic books and pop culture the way that I am. I would never go out of my way to go out there and say something to them in a way that made them feel belittled. I don't mind having an opinion that I'm certain a vast majority of the viewership here on the channel might not agree with, but I would never just put it out there in an antagonistic way to them specifically. You do have to show people respect.
Yeah, and everybody comes from a different walk of life. Everybody has a different set of experiences, and the idea of coming here and talking, you and I having a conversation is that we're both bringing our different experiences to this subject and talking about it. And people can come in and they can chime in the comments. If they have a differing opinion, we can have that discussion in the comments. We can talk about it on live streams. There is a certain amount of back and forth because, hey, if somebody comes with a new angle on something that I haven't thought about or I haven't experienced, I'm going to listen to it. And if it makes sense, I'll probably factor it into my thinking. That's what being open-minded and having these discussions is all about. But, when you're just outright insulting people because, you're bitter, like Adam Sessler appears to be bitter. He seems to be a deeply unhappy man. I think that there's probably like a lot of mental issues going on there. I think he definitely needs to talk to somebody and maybe, see a therapist and get some, get a better outlook on life because, man, that guy seems miserable and he seems like he wants to take his misery out on everybody else. That's not the way to build rapport with people. That's not the way to get people on your side, and that's not the way to build a business.
Sessler compared inciting trolls to the stalwart of comedy, the heckler. The heckler wants the attention. People love to be insulted in that arena. Everyone thinks that they are not a troll. And he said, at the end of the day, a view is a view is a view is a view. There was a point where if in order to keep ratings going, I needed to, we're not sure exactly what he said, okay, let's do it. I was being paid by G4. My interest was in the ratings and the survival of the show. This idea that making people hate you directly would somehow grow anything and not actually shrink your audience by orders of magnitude, like there's common sense there. You can't be that stupid.
Hate views are not sustainable either. You can have something like, like the Velma show that came out recently. And, people were out there saying, don't hate view this. You're just going to, all they look at is numbers. Whether you love it or hate it, that's all they look at is numbers. And, sure enough, like they were like, oh, Velma had the biggest premiere ever because people went and they hate watched it. Now, that's not sustainable. People aren't going to necessarily watch through the whole show. Things are going to drop off. Same thing happened with Rings of Power. People jumped in, hate watched those first 2 episodes, and then there was a huge drop off because they were like, well, this sucks and it's not worth my time, and they left. So you can get that initial quick bump from hate views, but it's not going to keep going. People are not going to stick around and be insulted, especially if on top of that, you're not even entertaining. And the new G4 was not entertaining. It was not engaging. Frosk is not somebody who people want to watch. Adam Sessler is not somebody that people want to watch in his current state. I know people liked him back in the day. I'm one of the few people that never liked him. I never found him, compelling or interesting and always thought he was annoying. But, some people liked him. And then he basically turned around and he killed all of that fan goodwill. Now he goes out there and he says, I don't need it. I'm rich, blah, blah, blah. You couldn't even get past my doorman. You know, all of these things that he says are the hallmark of somebody who is wildly insecure with their position in life, you know, and trying to impress you with, you know, he's trying to impress you with his big vocabulary. He's trying to impress you with, oh, look at all these things that I have. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. It doesn't impress anybody. You're actually, you know, you've basically betrayed the truth of who you are, which is that you're a sad, bitter little man.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's one of the things that was really missing from the G4 relaunch is when it was back in the day. You know, I'm not a huge gamer, but I would watch their programming a little bit here and there. And it felt like those people really liked gaming. They liked the culture. They liked the atmosphere. It felt like they enjoyed what they were doing. And they never, ever got that with the YouTube relaunch.
No, and I used to watch G4 back in the day. You know, it's like everybody kind of had their different little thing. You know, Olivia Munn seemed like a really fun personality. She seemed like she was kind of like the crazy girl that was up for anything. You know, whatever dumb skit they wanted her to do, whatever, you know, thing they wanted from her, you know, she would do it, you know, and she had a sense of humor about herself. Kevin Pereira, same thing. Funny guy, had a sense of humor about himself. You know, you brought Morgan Webb in. Morgan Webb seemed to be somebody who was really knowledgeable about gaming. You know, she to this day, I still remember she had this great segment where she talked about how they were trying to, you know, this game company, I believe it was EA, because isn't it always, was trying to, you know, scan your computer and see what ads, you know, what websites you went to and what things you were interested in, so that they could push ads to you. Like if you're in a driving game, they would put billboards in that were ads for products that you wanted. And she had this great segment where she was talking about if you're, you know, using this as a vehicle to hit me with ads, then the game is free. I'm not paying for a game that is, you know, just a vehicle for advertising. You know, you need to balance that out. And it was great. You know, she was well informed. It was well researched. You know, like I said, I still remember it how many years later. So, you know, the old G4 had a certain amount of credibility that this new one didn't. Like so many things that we say this day, so many reboots, so many relaunches, so many new takes on things. It's just the skin of the thing that you loved stuffed with a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, I guess the good thing that happened with G4 is Frost didn't just get fired. She's actually just leaving gaming altogether. And this is what she had to say on her way out the door. Anyway, I'm leaving the industry. Found new work elsewhere. This industry is really messed up. And what happened to me and plenty of others wasn't fair. And it could have been avoided if we all had stood up together. You let me down, but I get why. Cheers and good luck. She got so many people fired by being a selfish asshole. And they literally did stand up for her. And they watched everything go down in flames, never even apologized, and is still blaming everyone else, including her coworkers who she got fired before Christmas.
There's a huge lack of self-awareness. There's a huge lack of personal responsibility in the personalities that we're seeing today and the people that we're seeing come up, you know, in these creative fields. Everybody thinks that they're a unique and special snowflake. And that, you know, we all need to bow down. I responded to that. I just posted a GIF of Governor Tarkin saying, charming to the last. And that's all I had to say on it. You know, the thing that's really interesting about Frosk is, you know, she's going out and she's saying that, oh, you know, I've found work in another industry. I wish her luck. Someone with her skill set could definitely, you know, make a major impact in the food service or custodial arts.
Burger King,
you know,
is on the rise.
You know, maybe she'll be serving up those beef and cheddars to Perch at Arby's. Oh, you know, man. When he secretly goes in and you know, orders all his his delicious Arby's food.
Montana with his curlies.
Yep. And he'll be like, "Hey, aren't you Frosk?" Yeah, you know. So, like, the truth of the matter is she's pretty toxic in the gaming industry. She wasn't going to find. It's not like it's a choice. You know, maybe she did find gainful employment somewhere else, and good luck to whoever hired her. Hopefully it's not in any kind of PR position or any position where she has to deal with the public, because that's going to be a disaster for them. But, you know, the fact of the matter is she kind of burned all her bridges in gaming, and even on the way out, she kind of nuked it, which, you know, is fine if you really do not care. You know, if you really are, hey, I don't need this. I've got other skills that I can apply elsewhere. You know, I guess that's fine. But, you know, just to the very end, just completely toxic and awful to everybody who, you know, could have supported her in a lot of ways.
As they say in the WWE, good luck with your future endeavors.
Indeed. Indeed.
When all the madness going on with G4 closing down and everybody closing up shop and Sessler going insane and Frost went insane, Aaron and I did a video kind of talking about what was happening at the time. If you want some more context or maybe a little reminder, go back to the Wayback Machine, see how this thing all went down in flames. Definitely check out this video. There's also a link in the video description.